You may not know this, but getting fired can be a blessing in disguise. A new study by CareerBuilder found that 64% of workers who had been fired or laid off found a job that was either a better fit or paid more within 1 year. Also, 23% of those surveyed said they started their own business after being let go. Today, we're going to look at people who got fired and became millionaires, even billionaires. I think it is important to talk about these kinds of stories because everyone has problems at work and sometimes it feels like your boss is out to get you. You might be thinking, hey, I don't want to be doing this job anyway, but maybe you have bills to pay and rent to cover. So you put up with the toxic environment and the micromanaging. Then one day you get fired and you feel lost. This happened to the people featured in today's video. But rather than letting their circumstances defeat them, they decided to make something of it, and millions of dollars later, they're glad they were fired. Let's take a look at their stories. Number 10. Steve Jobs. It all started when Jobs was just 25 years old, and he was working for Atari. He got so frustrated over his pay that he quit. After that, he started working on his next big thing and spent the next 2 years developing the Lisa computer. The only problem was no one wanted to buy it because it was way too expensive. So Jobs took what he learned from this experience and partnered up with Steve Wozniak, and together they created Apple Computer Inc. And the rest is history. No. 9. Drew Houston. Back in 2007, Houston applied to work at Facebook as a software engineer. He passed the first round of interviews but failed the second round because he couldn't solve a coding challenge. The interviewers told him he was too dumb to work there, and Houston took that insult too hard. He didn't realize it at the time, but getting rejected by Facebook was actually a blessing in disguise. Houston went on to found Dropbox, and today the company has over 1 billion users and is worth $8.5 billion. Now that's some sweet revenge. No. 8. Michael Dell. During his senior year at the University of Texas, Dell landed an internship at a company called Cold Storage Systems, which specialized in selling mainframe computers. By all accounts, Dell was doing well there and seemed to be on the right path. However, that all changed when Dell had a disagreement with his manager about how the department should handle a client. Dell felt that his manager was treating the client unfairly and tried to persuade his boss to reconsider. But when his boss refused to listen, Dell quit. With the support of his mother, he used his savings to start his own computer company called Dell Computers. In 1984, the company was incorporated and went public in 1988. Today, Dell is worth an estimated $35 billion. Number 7. Jeff Bezos. Before launching Amazon in 1994, Bezos worked as an investment banker at a Wall Street firm called Bankers Trust. Later, he joined a hedge fund called Fidelity Investments, where he was promoted to senior vice president. On paper, it looked like Bezos was on the fast track to success, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. While working at Fidelity, Bezos was tasked with building up the company's internet business. At first, his bosses thought the internet was a fad and didn't invest much money in his efforts. They saw the internet as nothing more than a toy. But Bezos knew there was something more to it. So he quit his job and devoted his time and energy to Amazon full-time. And the rest is history. No. 6. Evan Spiegel. Spiegel studied product design at Stanford but dropped out in his second year to co-found a software company called Future School. The company never really got off the ground and ended up laying him off just 18 months later. However, instead of letting this defeat him, Spiegel used his experience to launch Snapchat with his buddies from college, Reggie Brown and Bobby Murphy. Today, Snapchat has 75 million daily active users. And earlier this year, Snap Inc., the parent company of Snapchat, went public. Number 5. Nolan Bushnell. Before starting his legendary video game company, Atari, Nolan Bushnell worked as an engineer at a company called Ampex. He was doing pretty well there, but he wanted to do something more with his life. So he quit and took a job at a small electronics company called Magnavox. He worked there for 2 years before quitting to start his own company. His goal was to make the most advanced video game console in the world. And he did just that with the creation of Pong.no. 4. Henry Ford. When he was 16, Ford left school and scored a job as a machinist at a mechanical workshop near his home. He was making good money and enjoyed his work, but soon the owner sold the company to a larger firm. Under the new management, Ford was given menial tasks and was often reprimanded for minor mistakes. Eventually, Ford had enough and quit. He then moved to Detroit and started working at a company called the Ford Motor Company, where he stayed for a few years. But when the company changed its leadership, Ford was once again unhappy with the new management. So he quit and set out to build his own quadricycle. The rest is history. No. 3. Ray Kroc. After serving in the military, Kroc became a real estate broker, but soon lost his license after pocketing a commission from a client. He then started his own popcorn and milkshake machine company called the Kroc Corporation. For several years, the business remained unsuccessful until he read an article about a man named Richard and Maurice McDonald who were using a new method to cook food. The brothers owned a burger joint in San Bernardino, California, and they claimed they could serve customers within 30 seconds of ordering. This intrigued Kroc, and he traveled to California to check it out for himself. After seeing what the brothers were doing, Kroc knew this was his chance to turn things around. He bought the rights to their concept and opened the first McDonald's restaurant in Des Plaines, Illinois. The chain quickly expanded across the United States and overseas. And today it has nearly 38,000 locations worldwide. No. 2. Colonel Harlan Sanders. Colonel Harlan Sanders didn't have an easy life. As a young boy, he worked multiple jobs to help support his family, including one as a steamboat pilot. In his spare time, he liked to hunt and fish, but one day he was arrested for shooting a man during a hunting accident. To avoid jail time, Sanders agreed to cook meals for the men at a nearby prison camp. And that's where he developed his passion for cooking. After the prison camp closed, Sanders began working at a gas station. He quickly climbed the corporate ladder there and eventually owned and operated 6 gas stations. But things started to fall apart when the Great Depression hit. Sanders lost everything and had to start over from scratch. That's when he began selling fried chicken from his kitchen. His secret recipe consisted of 11 herbs and spices, and it was unlike anything people had ever tasted before. People flocked to his home to get a taste of his delicious fried chicken. And soon he had so many customers, he needed to hire help. He opened his first restaurant in 1930. It was an instant hit. And the following year, Sanders franchised the business. Today, KFC has more than 24,000 restaurants in 145 countries and territories. Number 1. Howard Schultz. Before becoming CEO of Starbucks, Schultz worked for a company called Xerox. He was doing well there, but he wanted to start his own business. So he quit his job and enrolled in an MBA program at the University of Chicago. However, he soon realized that going back to school wasn't all it was cracked up to be. He missed the camaraderie of his former workplace and the structure of the 9-to-5 workday. So, he dropped out after just 1 semester. Not knowing what to do next, Schultz reached out to one of his former colleagues at Xerox for advice. His friend suggested he apply to another company called Starbucks. At the time, Starbucks was just a small coffee shop with a handful of locations. But Schultz saw potential in the business and applied anyway. Much to his surprise, he was hired. He rose through the ranks quickly and was promoted to director of operations within 3 years. But Schultz had bigger plans for the company. He wanted to expand it beyond Seattle. Despite his success, Starbucks founder, Jerry Baldwin, was reluctant to change the nature of the business. He wanted to keep it small and local. So Schultz resigned to pursue his own ventures. Just 2 years later, Schultz returned to Starbucks with a plan to turn it into a national chain. He borrowed money from his family and friends, bought out the original owners, and set about expanding the business. Today, Starbucks is the largest coffeehouse chain in the world with more than 28,000 stores in 80 countries. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thanks for watching.